Okay, so I've had this on my mind for a long time. Something I've been wanting to share with you guys because it's been a big part of what I've been going through over the past year and especially the last few months. What does it really take to change? Not just like heal, which is a way of looking at changing, but really becoming someone different and no longer carrying the burdens and the old patterns that you keep showing up in again and again and again when you're like, why am I still here? What does it really take to change all that? And where does that shit come from? And why are we all in this mess? So there's something called core wounds. And you can look at it as when you came into this world, you were this bright, pure soul. You chose to have this experience of life, of being in a body. You have free will. And even if it feels like your existence here is an accident, you did choose it, I believe. And you come into this world and you're born, and something happens that breaks your heart for the first time. And that could be something as simple as you're a baby and your parents leave you to cry it out. And as a baby, you don't know that they're ever coming back and you're totally helpless. And in that moment, maybe you think, oh my God, I'm not going to make it. I have to figure it out on my own. I have to figure out how to live and be a human in this big world, even though I'm this tiny baby. I have to figure it out on my own. And that moment is an initiation into your ego, into a mask that you begin wearing that's not really your true self. So it becomes a coping mechanism where in that moment, you get a wound that comes in as a belief of, I've been abandoned. They're never coming back. I need to figure out how to live on my own. And then that could show up as hyper independence, not being able to ask for help or receive help, or feeling alone and disconnected, or feeling like you've been abandoned, or being afraid of being abandoned in relationships, or even feeling abandoned by your parents, abandoned by God. It's a pattern, a core wound that shows up in many areas of your life. I need to figure it out on my own. I'm too small. The world's too big, but I've got to do it. And it creates this mask. And the mask that you wear could look like, I don't need your help. I've got this. Or it could look like, I'm going to leave you before you can leave me. So we all get different core wounds, and there are universal ones for sure, like not feeling good enough, like feeling like we don't belong, feeling unwanted, feeling unworthy. These are universal wounds that most people get when they're very young. And this core wound just shows up again and again and again in your life because once the mind believes something to be true, that's what it finds more and more evidence for in the world. And so it's important to consider this as well, that there is reality as we know it. So if you and I were talking in a room together, the facts of that situation is that two people are in this room talking. It is neutral. Reality is always neutral. What becomes a wound is what we make it mean. So if I had a core wound of I don't belong, which I did for sure, don't belong, not wanted, not lovable. I had that core wound and I was sitting or standing in a room talking with you. I could be making that moment mean I don't belong here. I'm not good enough to be here. I'm not good enough to talk to this person. And that would be creating feelings of anxiety in my body. And then those feelings would then generate more of those kinds of thoughts, which would then create a loop, which is, we've all been in that situation. So that is not reality, but that was what I was making it mean. And what you make reality mean is your personal map of the world. And your personal map of the world is also your tied into your personal identity. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough to be here. They don't want to talk to me. They think I'm being weird. Those are all identities, map of reality. Now, where we get stuck is when we believe our map of reality to be reality, but it's not. Reality, again, is neutral. It's how you see the world and what you make it mean that becomes your map. And Einstein said you can learn a lot from someone by asking them, is the universe a friendly place? And if they say yes, that's going to show you how they view the world, how open they are to life, how much they let life in, and how much they share of themselves with the world. And likewise for if they say no. So that is a core pillar of how your map of reality works. So you can change your map of reality and you can change your identity. Neither of these are fixed. They are just perceptions that we formed about ourselves and about life. And again, we get stuck when we think that those are the actual factual realities, even when they're not, because reality is always neutral. It's only what we make it mean. And while you can't change the fact that the sun is shining in the sky, you can change how you react to it, how you show up with it, what you believe about it. And when you do that, you change your map of reality. And in doing so, you change your whole world and you change who you are in that world. So if you want to change your world, if you want to change your identity, if you want to stop getting stuck in the same situations again and again and again and get that pain that lives in the body out, you need to begin by shifting, realizing that you have these core wounds for one, and that they're not the facts of life. The facts of life are not that you're unworthy, unlovable, any of that. The facts of life is that you are. You're here. So to say I'm not worthy is like arguing with existence. You're not going to win that battle. So if your map of reality is causing you pain, if your identity is causing you to be small or stuck or limited or uncomfortable, you don't have to keep it. You don't have to keep carrying that around. Now, the process of shifting that is probably not going to be comfortable. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. When a caterpillar goes into the chrysalis to become a butterfly, it doesn't just change into a butterfly. First, it melts down into liquid goo, and then it has these what are called imaginal cells, or no, imago cells. And then those cells from liquid goo form into an entirely new being that becomes the butterfly. So you have to let your identity dissolve and melt down if you want to step into a new one. And that melting process, it's disorienting, okay? It is. It's just, it's not fun. But the more you recognize it and acknowledge that this is part of a process and it's temporary, and all I need to do right now is allow it, allow myself to feel the feelings, the emotion that were tied to the old identity so they can be metabolized out of your system, and to allow yourself to feel disoriented, to allow yourself to not know who you are for a while, to be in that nebulous in between space so that your nervous system and your mind can start listening and remembering and becoming another version of yourself. And if you're lucky, you get to go through this a whole bunch of times throughout your lifetime because that is what growth is. And so, if you want to become someone new, if you want to have loving relationship, if you want to grow your business, if you want to know what the fuck you're meant to be doing with your life, you have to start by releasing and letting the old identities and patterns melt away so that you can then discover what it is you actually want and who you're meant to be and who you have the potential of actually becoming, and allowing yourself to be, allowing yourself to have this deeper presence that can move through you, this deeper connection that you can experience with yourself first and then with life and everybody else. So, the mantra for the liquid goo phase of the identity change is I don't know what's going on, and that's okay. So, if you're in that place, I'm sending you so much love, and know that it is temporary, and just allow yourself to melt it away and listen to your intuition and those things that help you to feel more alive. Maybe you have this urge to, for me, I started doing lots and lots of yoga so I could stabilize the shifting energy that's been inside of me and heal and melt away these old patterns and emotions that have been in my body so that I can ground in strength and focus and presence. For you, maybe you need to go. Maybe you want to go take a painting class. Maybe you want to go do some solo traveling. Maybe you want to read this book or just write in a coffee shop or connect with a friend that you haven't seen in a long time. whatever that is for you, it's just a matter of listening to those intuitions and those hunches that are going to take you somewhere you haven't been before, haven't been in a long time, to reconnect with a part of yourself and a part of life that is being sparked. So you melt down the old identity so that you can then recreate the new one. So allow those sparks to move in you and through you and set the intention for the highest potential to come from any situation that you are feeling called to move into. Okay? So sending you so much love. And if you're in the liquid goo phase, just be with it. You got this. It is temporary. And listen to your intuition and let those old identities melt away. They will sound like an intensifying of the old patterns and emotions. And your practice right now for this is to witness them without identifying with them anymore, to ground into your breath, into the sensations in your body, into your presence, and notice them and allow them to be there without judging them, without trying to push them away. Just notice them, send them love, hold them as if you were holding a crying baby. And that's all they really need. They will pass. They just need your love and acceptance and presence. And that light of your presence will melt away the pain of the past. Okay? Sending you so much love. See you next time.